This episode is supported by Trustonomy, an original podcast from OneTrust. Every good relationship you have, personal or business, it involves trust. But we all know that trust doesn't just happen, right? We've all lost trust in a friend or a brand or a product. Trustonomy is a new podcast that looks at true stories from the past to understand how trust works and what makes it stronger and how to rebuild it when it's broken. Now, you know I'm a sucker for a good podcast that weaves historical stories and relates it to what's happening today. So I thoroughly enjoyed this Trustonomy episode and recommend that you check that out as well. Search for Trustonomy in your podcast player. We'll also include a link in the show notes. Many thanks to the OneTrust team for their support.
Welcome to the Rocketship podcast. I'm Matt Goldman.
And I'm Joelle Steiniger. Today we talked with Jonathan Schor, the co-founder of CodeMonkey. Matt, what'd you think of this one?
This is another one of our Israel interviews, and it was really interesting to hear about an edtech company that tried several years ago to get started, but couldn't because of the dynamic in Israel with edtech fundraising. Fast forward, they tried again, it's worked out, and they share a bit about some partnerships that they've made to get to revenue at an earlier stage, which was really interesting.
Yeah, and I actually really like the focus on kids, even as young as 9 years old, learning how to code. Because a lot of the other learn to code things that I've seen have been focused on adults that want to either get better at their skills or maybe even make a career change. And it was really interesting to hear how they approach making this really fun and interesting for kids. So let's get into it.
Customer.io is a modern email platform built for startups. It helps you send the right messages at the right time based on how your customers are using your app. Go to customer.io/rocketship to start sending emails that convert. So, Jonathan, tell us about CodeMonkey.
Tel Aviv-based startup creating a platform for teaching real coding in a real programming language to children as young as 9. We do it through a highly engaging and intuitive online game where you program a monkey to catch all the bananas on the screen. It gradually gets more complicated, this way guiding you through all the fundamentals and advanced subjects in computer programming.
So what drew you guys to that?
It's an interesting story. Both my co-founders and I have been coding together actually since we were very young, I think 9 years old. Our parents are software engineers and mathematicians, so we got an early start, and we've been having a great time growing up and creating and inventing together while acquiring probably the most powerful 21st century skill. So when I graduated from high school, I wanted to give other children the opportunity I had, and I started my own programming courses for children, and that's where the first inspiration for CodeMonkey came from.
Have you found that there's a lot of kids that young, 9, 10, 11 years old, that are excited to learn to code, or is it more like parents or schools wanting to bring that, to them?
Yeah, so back then, that was a while ago. That was 2001, quite a while ago. And back then, we still didn't have this huge trend that we have now where teachers and parents and education system want to push this subject into mandatory curriculum. So it was pure, motivation coming from the children back then. And it wasn't only, the geekiest kind of children, because this was also like a great medium to be creative through already back then in 2001. So the motivation was there already back then with the children, definitely.
So we're talking about like 15 years ago. How have you guys been able to survive and fund this for so long?
Oh, no. So we didn't start then. This is another interesting story. Then I went to the university, Israel Institute of Technology, and 2005, I think, I graduated, and I wanted to start this as a startup company. But the edtech, the edtech buzz wasn't there yet around the VC community, and it was completely impossible to start an educational technology startup. And it was 2006 or 2007. So I tried with my partner for a few months, and we just had to pivot really early to a whole different space. Eventually, we gave up that startup, and we relaunched CodeMonkey 2 years ago when my wife saw an ad by a new edtech accelerator in Israel that they're looking for technological educational entrepreneurs, and that's where I learned that edtech became a thing in the venture capital, space.
So what was it like going through that accelerator?
That was quite amazing, really, because this accelerator is also owned by the largest educational publisher in Israel. It's really a monopoly in Israel. So what they could do for us in terms of penetration to the local market and networking to the global market, that was like real significant acceleration. When we just launched the product, I think 2 months after launching the product, they already sold it to 300 paying school customers in Israel. This is not something that we would never achieve so fast ourselves. They have the sales force, they have the customer base, so it was really amazing. And now, this summer, we're about, I think 50% of the elementary schools in Israel are becoming paying CodeMonkey customers. Again, this is something well beyond what we could hope for. And this is, again, I think we owe that to the structure of being part of an accelerator owned by a large education company.
This episode is brought to you by Miro. Whether it's agile planning, Scrum events, or technical diagramming, Miro is built for engineering workflows like yours. Enable your team to plan, align, and execute on your infrastructure initiatives all in one single place. That means you can plan your infrastructure efforts with intuitive project management and agile-focused features directly on a Miro board. Miro also has a ton of integrations like with Jira and Azure and Rally, so you can import tasks as native cards so you can see the big picture. Plus, Miro's estimation app gives you clear understanding of work scope and lets you identify gaps in analysis or understanding and set clear expectations for delivery, which is priceless. So, your first 3 Miro boards are free forever when you sign up. So go to Miro.com/podcast. That's Miro.com/podcast.
That's really interesting. Most accelerators you hear, they kind of prepare you to raise money, but it sounds like this one just jumped right into revenue generation. Is that right?
In our case, we have a lot of other companies in our cohort and the previous one and the next one in the same accelerator, which it didn't have work out the same for them, but we happened to create a product that was perfectly, up their alley, perfectly something that their customer were really waiting for, and it was very natural for them to become a distributor of CodeMonkey. So it happened for us. I think generally this accelerator, like you said, is focused on helping with, defining the product and the company and building a deck and approaching investors. They do that. But in our case, there was this amazing synergy in the distribution aspect.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
So getting into this, did you expect to have it collect revenue in this kind of model?
Sorry?
Did you think it would collect revenue in this kind of model selling to schools through this partner, or is that something you discovered going through the accelerator?
That's something, actually, at first we thought that the main business model would be selling to consumers online. And definitely this is something that took us by surprise, the way it worked so well selling to enterprise education customers through a distribution partnership. This is something we didn't expect. Yeah, we found that out as we went along. And now we still sell to consumers online, but now we treat this as a secondary income source, and more importantly, as a way to iterate on the product more quickly, because with consumers online, you can get feedback real fast on new features, new content. So we still see this as an important asset more for the product management process.
That's great. So do you find that when kids go through these exercises and begin to learn how to make it through the game, what do you find is the next step for them?
for the children.
Yeah, are you providing the next layer of content, or are you pushing them somewhere else?
The next step is definitely to be able to create their own content, because that's always the common motivation behind kids wanting to learn to code, is to be able to create and to express themselves using this new skill they acquire. So the next stage, it's just been in a closed beta for 2 months, and we're about to release this soon. Is the first model that will allow our users to be creative with what they learn. And the first step would be allowing them to create their own CodeMonkey level. We call that CodeMonkey challenges. But eventually this will evolve to a general purpose online HTML5 games studio.
And is the focus on more than one language, or are you focused on Ruby or?
We focus on one language. It's called CoffeeScript. It's an open source derivative of JavaScript with more user-friendly syntax. It's very influenced by Ruby and Python, but it actually compiles into JavaScript. So what you create with CoffeeScript can run on any platform, mobile or desktop, any kind. And we see the main differentiation between CodeMonkey and other solutions targeted at this age group is that we do teach a real programming language, where most other solutions, they do a great job in teaching sort of an introduction to computational thinking, but they do this without going into actual coding. They do this using drag and drop block puzzles. So teaching the real life skill of actually coding in a real language, with symbols and letters and numbers. This is one of the key differentiators for CodeMonkey.
So in Israel, the education timeline is a bit different since the army fits in there at some point. Are you trying to push kids in the direction of taking up a technical role in the army, or eventually going on to do something technical in college? Or is there something as early as high school where they can start to apply these skills?
It's a great question. In Israel, actually, now there's a new Minister of Education, there's a new government, and he just a week or 2 weeks after getting to his new office, he came to meet CodeMonkey, met with me, and his main concern is sort of widening the funnel, so to say, to children selecting math and computer science and stuff like that as an elective, as a major in high school. So CodeMonkey inside the Israeli education system will be measured, the impact will be measured in how it manages to increase the rate of high schoolers that choose, let's say, to major in math instead of non-STEM subjects.
That's really fascinating. It's very different from over here, where you don't really make a decision until you hit college. And even then, most people aren't really prepared.
Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting. Thank you so much for coming on and telling this story. It's been fascinating to learn about, teaching kids, but not only that, but also in Israel, and a place that's so different.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
How can people keep up with you online?
Our Twitter handle for CodeMonkey is CodeMonkey STU for CodeMonkey Studios, same on Facebook. We're coming now to present in Philadelphia at ISTE, which is the largest EdTech conference for teachers and educators in the United States, I think. So we're going to have a booth there with another great EdTech startup from Israel called TinyTech. We're sharing a booth with them, so you're invited to visit us there.
Thank you. That's great.
Okay, so thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Rocketship podcast. If you enjoyed it, we have tons of other awesome episodes on our website. Check them out, rocketship.fm.
And be sure to check out our app discount section, where we have discounts on products that we use every day, like Woo Themes, Wistia, Treehouse. Go to rocketship.fm/essentials and get your discounts today.
Mine's handmade, pan-fried, sun-dried, southside, and beat the devil by a landslide. Praying with her hands tied, president of my fan club, Santa. Something told me I should bring my money.
Gotta move it slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you, you're my Sunday. You
gotta move
slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for this whole week. I've been waiting for you, you're my Sunday. Come on in this house. It's gonna rain down time. It's gonna rain. You better come on in this house. It's gonna rain down time. It's gonna rain.
I come to church for the candy, your peppermints is the truth. I'm pessimistic on Monday, if I had tweaked and missed you. You look so good with the hat on, had to match with the shoes. Came in dressed in the satin, I came and sat in your pew. I come to Christmas for dinner, 50 rolls on my plate. Hella holes in my stocking, holding your pockets in place. I like my love with the budget, I like my hugs with a cent. You smell like light gas while the electricity rent. You sound like why the gospel choir got so tired. Singing this praise on a daily basis, so I gotta try it. You my dream catcher, dream team captain. Matter of fact, I ain't seen you in a minute. Let me take my butt to church.
You better come on in.
Come on in this house.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Rain down time.
Rain down.
It's gonna rain. You better come on in.
Come on in this house.
It's gonna rain.
It's gonna rain.
Rain down time.
Rain down.
It's gonna rain. You gotta move it slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you, you're my Sunday. Can
You gotta move slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for this whole week. I've been praying for you, you're my Sunday.
slowly, taking in my body like it's holy. I've been waiting for you for the whole week. I've been praying for you, you're my Sunday. Come on in, come on in this house. It's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. Rain down time, it's gonna rain. You better come on in this house. It's gonna rain. Rain down time, it's gonna rain.
I'm Dr. Ray Wingrant, wildlife ecologist and host of the award-winning podcast Going Wild, produced by Nature on PBS. In the brand new season of Going Wild, we're tackling the big question, how can humans look at our relationship to nature differently? And with the help of special guests like Christian Cooper, host of Nat Geo's Extraordinary Birder, and Ayanna Elizabeth Johnson, co-creator of the How to Save a Planet podcast. Follow Going Wild with Dr. Ray Wingrant on your favorite podcast app.
Are you looking for a podcast that'll make you laugh?
You came to the wrong place.
That's not us.
That's not us.
Well, it is. We are a husband and wife who chat about raw, real relationship topics.
Yeah, like sex.
Like money.
Like marriage and kids.
But we're not afraid to talk about how your newborn baby probably isn't as cute as you think it is.
If you're in need of entertainment while you're driving to work, because that sucks, we can join you in the suckage, kind of like being in your ear.
Not physically.
So if you want to laugh,
Come check us out.
Come check us out.
Brought to you by the Laughing Couple Podcast.